live. Good morning. Good morning from New Hampshire. Hello, my name is Cindy and I'm on my way to school. I am a teacher and I'm headed to school and I'm on doing my morning car chat. So I do wear a lot of hats. I am, let's see, I went to college to be a math teacher, got married, and I have 13 children, so I'm a mom. I'm also a grandma, and I've homeschooled my kids for several years, and now I am a teacher. And I've also found myself into town business. And today I thought I might talk about the library because I'm a library trustee. And I live in a very small town, and our library is actually a historic building, and it is in the center of town, and it's called the Dudley Tucker Library. And it's named after one of the residents, obviously. And it's also a Carnegie Library. I did a video on my channel about Carnegie Libraries. Have you ever heard of a Carnegie Library? Hey, Kelly. Thanks for coming. I hope you can hang out because I see you have a wrench. Sometimes I need a wrench and I don't have one for some people that surf in that are kind of inappropriate. I know Kelly is on vacation this week, and as you can see, the weather is raining today. I had one sunny day yesterday, and today it's back to rain. It's supposed to be in the 60s today, so I have layers. I have like a raincoat, and then I have a warmer, like jacket thing that I can take off if it gets warm, and I have like a sweatshirt, which I love this sweatshirt. I got it on Amazon and it is so soft. And so anyway, back to the library. So I'm a library trustee, and in our town, the library was big for our family because I homeschooled when we first got to town. I had 7 children, pregnant with my 8th when we moved there, and one of the first things that we went to check out was the library. My kids loved to read. The older girls, I had 3 girls first, and they loved reading. And they were really good at discerning good books, too. And they loved the classics, and we had lived for a little while with my parents in another town, and we got to know that library. Like everywhere we went, we get to know the libraries. So our town library had so many awesome books, and my kids loved it. They also had story time, and we were able to go to story time, and they would have that for like kids 3 to 4, I think it was. And they would go in, they'd sit down and have books read to them, and the moms could hang out in the side room and kind of chat. And I met a few friends there that are still my friends today, and that our kids are all grown up and, have careers of their own, families of their own. And I just remember those amazing days at story time at the library. And through the years, it's been a really important part of our life. And through the years, there was one woman who was the director of the library for 40 years probably. And she retired a few years ago, and they hired a new director. And then there was one trustee that was there for 20 years, and the trustees were there for several years. But now it's 2025, so just before COVID, there was kind of a big changeover. And my kids are getting older, so I hadn't been to the library quite as much because with older kids, it seems like you're going to sports, you're doing this, you're doing that. But my daughter, Lily, who's graduating from college this year, she loved the library. She would go there all the time. She had her own card, and she would check out books here and there. But I wasn't there as much, and I didn't have little kids. Well, fast forward to, I don't know, probably 2021 or something. One of the parents of younger children told me about some books that they thought, you know, they didn't really appreciate were out on display for little kids to see in the children's section. They were inappropriate. And so I went to one of the trustees and I said, did you know that this book is in the library and what do you think about it? And I didn't get much of an answer, kind of like, like I don't want to answer that question. And so it's like, she's like, well, why don't you come to the trustee meetings? And I said, when are they? And they're Thursday at 3:30 in the afternoon. I'm like, who can go to those? Like, people are working. You can go to a trustee meeting at 3:30 in an afternoon, and I'm usually busy those days, but actually, the first couple times I made it work because I said, okay, I'm going to go and ask some questions. So I went and asked some questions, and I was kind of surprised at the answers. So the more questions I asked, the more questions I had. And it turned out that more people in the community came to the meetings and asked more and more and more questions. And these meetings ended up lasting quite a while because of all of the questions we had. So it turns out that in New Hampshire, if your child gets a library card, which they can get at 6 years old, and that's really exciting. You go into the library, you do story time when they're 4 and 5, and they're like, when you're 6, you get a library card. That's so exciting. Oh, it's going to be great. As soon as you turn 6, you can get a library card. Of course, the kids are excited about getting a library card. And then we find out that if my child takes out a book out of the library, and it's on their card, if I go to the library and I say, hey, what are the books that Johnny took out because I need to find them because, Johnny took 5 books home and I can't find any of them. I want to know the titles. And the librarian is going to say, oh, I can't tell you that. There's a New Hampshire state law that says that I can't tell you the names of the books on your child's library card that you brought to this library, and you help them get the card, but you can't you can't know the books that your own child took out of the library. It's so ridiculous, and this is a real law. So I was so shocked. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, every time my kid is 15, 16, 17, my 17-year-old couldn't go play basketball last month because I didn't have time to go to this gym that he wanted to play at to sign a waiver. I'm sorry, I don't have time. You can't do it. I can't go that way because I have to go this way. And he's 17. And I couldn't call up and say, hey, I'm the mom. I know he's there. He can play basketball. I had to go in person. But yet, if a kid takes out a library book, I can't know it. And then if the library book gets lost, guess who pays for it? Mom and Dad. So it's really, I couldn't believe it. And I couldn't believe that the people in charge of the library at that time thought that this was normal. Like, this is perfectly normal and fine. And then I question it, and I'm like a terrorist. So stupid. And I live in a teeny tiny town. Like, we all know each other. Like, they know where I live. Like, it's like Little House on the Prairie. It's just so ridiculous. Oh, we have to obey the state law. And I said, well, then you should have it. You should have a big plaque that says state law. Parents cannot find out what their kids' library card, however it's worded, it's got some kind of really awesome wording to it. But, that's what's going on at our library. Then I find out if you don't like a book, like say there's a book in the children's section, in this one case, there was a book with, I'll tell you the name of the book. It was Library Parade, and there's rainbows on it. And then there's like the backside of undressed people. So stupid. And it's a children's book. So if you as a parent don't appreciate that book and you complain about it, you can fill out a reconsideration form. So on this reconsideration form, which I did, of course, I filled out 4 of them just to find out how the process works. And you fill out the reconsideration form and you tell, it says, why do you not like the book? Have you read the whole book? Tell us more about it. They think this is totally reasonable. And so we did that, and then it goes to the trustees. The trustees have to read all of the books that ask for reconsideration, and then they have to give their own opinions. And you can keep it anonymous, like when you ask for reconsideration. Keep it anonymous, but then remember you live in this teeny tiny town and only a few people complain about stuff. And so, I did it. Everybody knew that I was the one who wrote this reconsideration forms. And then they're going to proceed to tell you why they can't take it out of the library. Because some people like these books. It's not obscene. It's not really that bad. It's got rainbows. Kids should be able to handle undressed grown man in a book. And they're going to tell you all about why they have to keep it in the library. And then they're going to tell the American Library Association. They're going to write them and send them the information and tell them, we had one person or 2 people that wanted to ban this book. Then they put it on the banning book list, and then they tell everybody read banned books. It's like a perfect plan for stupidity. It's just ridiculous. So, so what did I do? I said, this is ridiculous. We're gonna work to get someone else, because the trustees, every 3 years you get one person rotates out of the trustee board, and the citizens vote for the trustees. So we worked hard. There was one trustee coming up for renewal, I call it. And so we campaigned, and a friend of mine, she won the vote. But unfortunately, she had health problems and she could not fulfill her duty. So the seat was empty for a little while, and I went ahead and sort of reached out to friends and said, if it's in between, before the election, you would have to be appointed by the Board of Selectmen, which is like the 5-person board that governs our town. So I went to the Board of Selectmen and told them what I wanted to do, and a lot was going on. So several weeks went by, and there were citizens who wrote in on my behalf, and the Board of Selectmen chose me for the position. So I sat in that seat for a few months until the next election. Then I ran for election, and I got elected in March to be a trustee. So I'm a trustee, and it has been very interesting. So this is how you can make a difference in your community, is by getting involved. Now for us, we have a 3-person board, so it's kind of difficult in some ways because it's only 3 people, but it's also 3 people. And so we are now, from the time I first started asking questions, there were 3 people on the board, and now all 3 of those people have been voted out of their position. Well, one person didn't leave. did not run again. They just bowed out. You don't have to run again if you don't want to. So that's the story of becoming a trustee. So when I first became a trustee, I was the secretary. And that is kind of a big job because you have to type all the minutes and you have to make sure you know all the supporting documents that need to be part of the, on the website. And that is pretty serious job. Then I became chair through some circumstances. And now I have become the treasurer. So we have had problems with the accounting, understanding how the accounting is supposed to work for the library, and how there's just things that haven't been done properly. So it's been kind of a town effort between the townspeople, the Board of Selectmen, the Budget Committee, and trying to figure things out as a trustee board, because nothing was really written down to explain how things should work. We have laws. There are RSAs put out by the state that we're supposed to follow, but there's a lot of updating we need to do as a board. So there's a lot of work ahead. It seems like I've been spending an awful lot of time on this. And, we're elected people. We get paid nothing for this. And also the budget committee cut our budget. We were making like $350,000 or collecting from the taxpayers. And we are down to by $111,000. So now we have a really, really tight budget. And a lot of that was because mismanagement and things that were happening that, we tried to fix and it didn't fix, so they cut the budget. So it's been a long road the last 3 years trying to be involved in this, but honestly, this is what our country is supposed to be doing. Like, the citizens aren't supposed to elect people and say, here, you're my king, have fun with that, and I'll work and make $1 million and you can take care of it. It's not supposed to be like that. We're supposed to all be involved in something to help in our, it's a constitutional, democratic situation. What do we call it? We're supposed to be constitutional first, and what's the word? I'm thinking democratic republic. Not sure that's the right word. But, we are a republic. We're supposed to be working together with parameters, laws, rules, but also working together as people and helping each other and working together. And part of that is our voting system. In our towns, we vote, and we have what you call deliberative sessions, where we come up with the budget. The different boards do a lot of work. They come up with warrant articles, and then we have a session to sort of solidify the ballot and how things are going to go on voting day. And then they all show up. A small percentage of the town shows up to vote. So out of 10,000 people, we have about 1,000 people that show up. I think it's about 10% or so that show up to vote on what the whole entire town is going to do. And, it should be more people getting involved. People say, well, the people voted. Well, technically, it's not all the people that voted. It's the people that actually came out are the ones that are voting for what you're going to pay in taxes. So the library is kind of a small budget compared to the school budget or the town budget. but it also represents, our hearts as a community. And I just am really disappointed with our library that it's kind of it's not thriving right now. And we do have story time still, but it's not thriving. And there could be reasons for that. People can get books on their phone. They can do digital books. They can, people have more money. You can have Amazon. I get books on thriftbooks.com. And there are lots of ways to get books other than going to the library. And, so we have to keep that in mind. But it should be a community place. People still need to get together and be a community. A couple of years ago, we were doing soup on Fridays, and the librarian was making soup, and we would show up on Fridays and have a little bowl of soup and visit with each other. And I'm telling you, an hour flies by. It feels like 2 minutes, and that was really fun. But I haven't been doing that lately, and I'm just kind of in a holding pattern, even though I'm a trustee of the library. And so I just would like to challenge my friends that watch this video to be a part of your local community. Now, my daughter, she lives in Massachusetts, and that's a very, I don't know, some people call it communist, but it's not really quite that far yet, but definitely more progressive than New Hampshire. But her library is amazing. Even though they have progressive books, they have a lot of resources for homeschoolers, for parents. Like, you go to her library, the children's section, and it is packed with books. And the librarians are very helpful. And my daughter does not put the books on her children's library card. She just puts it on her card. That's another workaround. Don't give your kids a library card. Even though it's something fun that the library promotes, just put all the books on your card. That way you don't have to worry about asking for the books on your child's library card. Maybe you can get 2 library cards in your name. I don't know. But for me, it was nice because if each kid had their own card, I knew who was missing a book, and then it made it easier for me to charge them the money if they got a fine or something, or make them do some work to pay for the library fines. But, yeah, the library is a hard situation. The library will reflect the community. And one of the other things that's a problem is, if you have a person purchasing books that likes the DEI agenda, things like that, they buy the book, and then if you say, oh my goodness, this should not be in our library, and you complain about it, you're a book banner. And then they put it on a book banner list, and then they tell everybody to read the banned books. So it's just such a crazy thing. And it's all in our tax dollars. It's like, if you want to open a bookstore and you want to sell these books, go for it. But why is it, as a taxpayer, I can go into the library and I have no control over what books we're buying, and I'm, called names because I don't like certain books and I don't think they should be in our library. And it's just so concerning. And now I'm a library trustee and I'm still in the same, it's even worse because I'm supposedly supposed to, love all people and allow them all to have their books. Now, our person at our library said that she wouldn't agree to buying books on how to make a bomb. Like, there are lines that she would draw. But in my opinion, when you harm a child's brain, how is that better than learning how to make a bomb? I mean, some people can make a bomb and use it for something good, you know. Like in New Hampshire, if you can't build a house and there's ledge, you have to blast through the ledge. So what is that? You know, that's a science. So that might not even be a bad thing to learn about. But when you harm a child's brain, that is serious. You know, that child cannot unsee things that they see. And I think as adults, we should protect the well-being of children. And just, that's all I'm going to say about it, because I could go on and on and on. But in New Hampshire this year, we do have a bill going through the channels, and this bill is going to make it so that the law against parents seeing what's on their child's library card will be rescinded, and that we will be able to look at the library cards of our own children. It's amazing the things people come up with, though. They're like, well, what if they're in a family where one of the parents is abusive or something? And what if they are in a divorce situation and their, parents live in different houses, and the kid, or, their kid is with one parent and gets a book and the other parent finds out about it. There could be a family squabble. I mean, people have come up with some interesting scenarios of why it's safer for children to not let their parents. But, the common everyday parent should be able to see what's on their child's library card. We shouldn't criminalize parents. It's just ridiculous. All right. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed our today's car chat. Let me know in the comments how you did with this video. And do you like to go to the library? I wish that more people would go to the libraries. I mean, our towns pay for them. And voice your opinion and tell your library. Be louder than those who want to destroy the minds of children. Unfortunately, people don't want to admit it, but that's what's happening. We're destroying the children from the inside out. Ugh, it's just so crazy. I mean, it is very, very sad what we're doing. I thought it was like human nature that we always protect the children. We always put our arms around the children. We put ourselves in between danger and our children, and we take the hits for them. That's what I thought it was supposed to be like. But it is for some of us, and some of us aren't going to give up until our dying day. And, maybe it's worse in some places than others. Maybe New Hampshire's worse than, other places. Or, just stay out of the library. You don't have to worry about it, I guess. But then, we keep sending more and more and more money because we're not paying attention. And now we are funding the very thing that harms our children. So I think we have a responsibility to wake up and smell the coffee and stand up for the kids, right? And now that my kids are grown, like when my kids were little, I couldn't have done all this. But now that my kids are grown, I can step in, and I'm hoping that I could be an inspiration for others. Because obviously I can't do all this by myself. So, well, thank you for watching this video. I'm almost to school, and thanks for keeping me busy and awake on my morning drive. And Kelly, I hope you have a great day today. It's raining here and it's supposed to be 60s in a little while. So I'm hoping that it warms up. The students at my school yesterday, they were able to go outside and run around. And even though we have seventh grade and up, we have a small school, so they don't have to just stay in the building all day. They have little breaks and they can go outside, run around, play catch, play tag. And yesterday I went out back, they had a volleyball set up. So that's going to be the next fun thing is they are going to be playing volleyball. And we have intramural volleyball actually. I think they're playing today. And so with a small school, there's some advantages to being flexible and saying, hey, let's just during study hall, did you all get your homework done? Oh, of course, they all got their homework done, and so they can go outside and play. We'll see. That's yet to be seen whether or not they got homework done for today, but I didn't give them that much, but a little bit. Teacher Kelly is driving home today. Okay, great. So, oh yeah, you're going to spend time with your son who had the surgery. Yeah, my son had that surgery. The first couple weeks was pretty rough, but he did pretty good. He was really quiet and he just weathered the storm, and he had his surgery in January. So by the time spring came, he was able to get around. So he even went, his big goal was to be able to do some snowboarding. So he did some snowboarding, and then he moved down to Georgia with the rest of my kids. So he's in Georgia now, and they are like enjoying the sun. Like they're out in the sun and just like being sun people. And I'm up here still weathering the storm in New Hampshire. Anyway, thanks for coming, and I will see you next time. Have a great day.